We're going to preview the Bengals versus Rams Monday Night Football game and update you guys on the Joe Burrow injury status. But if you want the Bengals to beat the Rams, we need you to like today's video. We have tons of data here at Chat Sports that proves this fact. The more likes we get on a video, the more likely that team is to win. So do not be the reason why the Bengals start the year 0-3. We didn't get very many likes on our Week 1 preview, by the way. Like the video if you want the Bengals to take down the LA Rams. It's a primetime football game for the Cincinnati Bengals, wearing one version of their all-white uniforms at home against the Rams. The Bengals, by the way, are still a 3-point favorite, despite, as we'll get into, the immense uncertainty around the status of franchise quarterback Joe Burrow. The Rams have exceeded expectations this season. They are 1-1 on the year. They have a top 10 scoring offense. The defense has held up its end of the bargain for the most part. They certainly benefited from a lackluster Week 1 effort against the Seahawks, but the Bengals have not lived up to expectations. It is a Super Bowl rematch. By the way, I will remind everybody, it was not PI on Logan Wilson. That was a garbage call that cost the Bengals a championship, but that's the past. In the here and now, the Bengals are kind of in a must-win game. Starting the year 0-3 and expecting to make the playoffs doesn't really happen very often. It's rather uncommon for that to occur. The Bengals lost in Week 1, 24-3, a very poor performance. The weather a factor, sure. They started slowly off against the Ravens. Then the offense kind of got going a little bit in the second half. The defense couldn't get a stop. Then Joe Burrow re-aggravates that calf injury. The Rams, meanwhile, took care of business against the Seattle Seahawks. 30-13 was a very impressive performance. They did, however, lose against the San Francisco 49ers, a much tougher test than Seattle. And I would say if the Bengals are playing well, they're probably closer to the Niners level than the Seahawks level. So who do you have winning this one? B for the Bengals, R for the LA Rams. That'll be today's pinned comment. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in B for the Bengals or R for the Rams. Let's get to the latest then on the Joe Burrow injury front, the single biggest story, I would argue right now, maybe in the entire NFL. Burrow, again, per Zac Taylor, practice as we see from this has not begun. It'll begin in a little bit, but we have a good feel for what's going to happen here. Burrow is not going to be a full participant. So best case, he's limited if he is out there. I would, if I had to guess, and maybe you guys can freeze and cold takes me on YouTube, I don't think he practices today. Maybe, and if it is, it's a very walkthrough-esque style of practice there. Remember, it's Wednesday for the Bengals, not even I know it's Thursday on the calendar, but the game's on Monday, so bump everything back a day in terms of your normal practice schedule. Bengals keep saying he's sore, listed as day-to-day. They're not really providing much insight. Why would they? There's no competitive benefit to doing that. It is a toss-up at best as to whether or not Burrow will be out there in Week 3, which, again, I think is a must-win game, and you'd much rather have Burrow out there than Jake Browning. And it would be Browning, by the way, who starts over Will Grier. I know Grier had the flashy final preseason game for the Cowboys with it was Dak calling the plays, funnily enough, but it's more of a one-read. It was a simple defensive schemes being played against them there. Grier would be a practice squad call-up, which we should know at some point on Sunday. So if Grier gets called up, that's your sign about Burrow. And if Burrow doesn't practice at all this week, it'd be a little surprising to see him out there. Bengals might try to preserve the late season push as opposed to winning a critical game this week. So prediction time. Will Joe Burrow play in Week 3? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off for me in the comment section right now. Some other injury notes to get to. Chris Evans. Now, Evans last week kind of aggravated that hamstring injury. Was limited late in the week, still did not play. We'll see what happens today and Friday, etc. But I think he's got a chance to play this week. And it does sound like the other Joe, Joseph Ossai, still counts as Joe. I'm going to count it. Sounds like he's trending in a positive direction to being able to play, which is a good thing because the Bengals pass rush, as we'll get into as part of our keys to victory, has not been very good so far this year. Now, it is primetime football, and we're going to be live for it. Bengals, Rams, right here on Bengals Breakdown. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button right now, youtube.com/Bengals TV for a free live watch party. We'll have some fun. Get everyone in here to enjoy primetime football. Hit that sub button for me right now. Let's talk keys to victory here. Kind of independent of your quarterback play since we don't know who's going to be out there. Number one, you got to get Joe Mixon going. Let Mixon cook a little bit. 26 carries this year, 4.4 yards per carry. I think Mixon has looked more explosive and better than what we saw last year. I think that chip has been on his shoulder a little bit. So if I were the Bengals, I would utilize Mixon more. Now, again, we'll see about Burrow or Browning or whatever, and the opposing defense might key in more on Mixon. That's all fine. I want him to get involved. They've actually run the ball pretty decently so far this year. Keep doing that. Mixon should have more than 13 carries this week. He really should. Now, today's show is made possible in part by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code CHAT125 for a 125% deposit bonus. $100 down minimum to get that deposit bonus. As of filming Thursday afternoon, the Bengals are still a 3-point favorite against the Rams. The line was higher pre-Burrow injury news, but then dropped not as much as you would otherwise think, given it's Jake Browning as the next man up there. So that tells me Vegas just does not know who's going to be out there. If the line moves again, it continues to fluctuate, as it's gone down to 2.5 at one point, back up to 3, we'll see what happens. Go bet on the game. Chatsports.com/bet, promo code CHAT125. Key to victory number 2. The pressure shows up for Cincinnati. It has not shown up enough this season. You have paid your entire defensive front. Your front 7, well, 6 in the modern NFL with nickel packages. They've all been paid. Hendrickson got paid. Hubbard got paid. Reeder, Hill, Wilson, Pratt. Now, again, the linebackers don't blitz that much, but my point remains, your front has to be better. 3 sacks in 2 games ain't going to cut it. Get after Stafford this week. Number 3, key to victory, I would like to get Ja'Marr Chase more involved. He's kind of bemoaned the lack of deep targets, although, bad weather game in week 1, they didn't connect on him. I think maybe too many to Higgins overall from that perspective. Ja'Marr Chase has 10 catches for 70 yards through 2 games. 7 yards per catch. What in the Jarvis Landry is that stat line? That does not make sense. The Bengals have got to get one of the premier playmakers the ball more. You have to go a very long way down the list to see, okay, where does Ja'Marr Chase rank? 10 for 70 is not good enough through 2 games. 5 for 35? No, that can't happen. Whoever the quarterback is, get Ja'Marr Chase involved. Not just short area stuff. Get him involved downfield a little bit more as well. Pick the score for me of the Bengals against the Rams. My prediction coming later on in today's show. I want to hear from you guys right now in the comments section. Bonkers key to victory number 4. Let's take away Puka Nacua, which if I had shown you one stat line of 10 for 70 and one stat line for 25 for 266, you would have said, oh, Chase has 25 catches? Wrong. Puka Nacua does. Let that sink in. He's basically taken on the Cooper Kupp role and been like, Cooper Kupp who? Take him away. The Rams have some talent. Van Jefferson, Tutu Atwell. Don't let the surprise rookie day 3 draft pick Puka Nacua continue to flash. Whether that's Mike Hilton, whether that's Chidobe Awuzie, you might see some more DJ Turner. Take away Nacua. Make Matthew Stafford throw to other wide receivers and or tight ends. You knew this would be number 5, right? Or at least you're going, oh, yeah, of course it is. Limit Aaron Donald. You cannot stop him. He is too good. Cordero Volson, you're probably going to have to deal with him quite a bit there. Alex Kappa, you have to deal with him quite a bit right there. Ideally, your center is able to chip out and help, and Ted Karras and make things easier. Aaron Donald is a nightmare to defend. He is someone whose defensive impact is so profound. He's what I call a gravity player. There's just a field around him. It pulls players in. He has his own orbit. It's very tough to stop him. You really can't. Limit him as best as possible, and don't let whoever your quarterback is end up on the turf a bunch on Monday night. Score predictions are tough because you don't know what the quarterback situation looks like as we film this on Thursday. Either way, give me the Bengals to win 23-20. I'm not overly confident in it, but I do have Cincy coming out on top. Remember, folks, to subscribe to us here on Bengals Breakdown. We will be live for the game, so do not miss that. We'll have some fun in prime time.